His Lordship, can we start?
Yes, 2:30 হয়ে গেছে. Let us start.
Dear friends, first session, I believe we were enjoyed. Now, second session. In this session, all participants means all judges, panel lawyers, civil societies members. Language will be English or Bengali for Bengali people, and for Indian people, English or Hindi. And two persons from Bangkok, their language will be English or Medland. So we may start. First we start from India. Apurva, are you in board?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Apurva, madam. Can I request you to present your topic?
Yeah, for sure, sir. If you could just let me know how much time do I have for my
10
presentation?
minutes, only 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh, all right, sir.
Your language will be Hindi or in English?
English.
Or Hindi.
And not Gujarati.
Not
Yeah.
Gujarati. Yes, sir.
If you want, I can mix Gujarati, Hindi, and English. All right, sir. So, if you allow me, can I share my screen?
Yeah.
I hope it is visible and I am clearly audible.
Yes, visible.
So, yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. So, given the time limit, I would try my best to be very brief and just speak about the major points. So, the topic, the opportunity given to me by respected Goswami sir is to present my views on lawyers' role in mediation. So, basically, I wanted to talk about that. As we know that we have been discussing that mediation is a very effective learning process which helps basically the parties to understand their mutual interests and positions and all. And we know that it's been getting so much of emphasis because of the transformative nature, for both the parties, and how it links parties to think more realistically about their claims and interests, and also in turn we can say encourages them to act very reasonably, vis-a-vis the other side. So there is a many times usually it also changes the parties relationships, and restores some forms of communication and cooperation, and also we see that it helps in rearranging the entire situation and resolve the conflict at the end result of it. And many times as we see mediators speaking about their experiences, we get to know that sometimes the results are very unpredictable as well. So in all this context, the lawyers supported mediation can be enormously beneficial, because I believe it is a tool which ensures that both the parties have quality independent legal advice, which is very very important. And so that they are also confident to enter into an informed dialogue, a very well informed process, and ultimately which helps to restore or redress basically the power imbalances between the parties. So as such we see that the role of the lawyers is very important, and I wanted to talk about the various professional challenges, opportunities and incentives. And because of the time, if I may now only talk about the technical mediation term which is getting used more and more these days, in terms of specifically resolving the conflicts, or resolving the conflicts in cases of big industries or construction sites, etc., wherein the role of the lawyers is being getting more promoted as a mediator, because they are not just going into what is wrong and right or what is their client's interest or what they would like to believe in, but they have to go beyond that to solve such issues or disputes at the broader level. So in that context, the very new emerging trend also, probably we can say, is in context of the big industries or construction sites and all, wherein the lawyer, with an understanding of their role as a mediator and the very important aspect of it, takes the parties to mediate in a way which can help in coming to a solution which is mutually beneficial. So as a background note, maybe we can also discuss about how do we consider mediation as an alternative to adjudication. So because whenever we talk about mediation, we are the whole background to it is that it's very practical, it's very flexible method which for resolving disputes, and in some cases it is also very believed to be very faster, more effective and cost effective as well, in terms of time and cost and all those things, than the adjudicative process. So due to and apart from all this, because of their specific and collaborative nature, mediation techniques are also believed to be producing very high value solutions to conflict that may not even be available through the other judicial processes, and we know the constraints in relation to that. So and in this context, if we talk about adjudication and mediation as an alternative, so we know that as a matter of fact is that the courts or the arbitrators or the arbitrators role in adjudication or adjudicative process, they are expected to decide, as we said before also, on who is right and who is wrong. So there is a very much we see a legalistic or moralistic approach, which makes perfect sense, but often may even be very necessary. But this is certainly not the only conceivable technique. So that's what we have to keep in mind when we are talking about the role of the lawyer in the mediation. And another important background note to it is that how do we consider mediation as a very, very important tool or means of access to justice. So because nowadays there are a lot of discussions, conferences, programs, training programs like this, which are emphasizing, and moreover this has given a way to a kind of recognition to this area, that measures encouraging the use of mediation, that measures in terms of encouraging the use of mediation can actually facilitate access to justice. So while I was preparing for this, I through my readings, what I could make out is that we can see the lawyer's role in mediation in terms of two different perspectives or paradigms. One is where we see that there is a lawyer supported mediation, and another where lawyer himself or herself is acting as a mediator. So when we talk about lawyer supported mediation, we know that there are one or more parties which are assisted in preparation, or are accompanied at mediation sessions by their own lawyers, who will inform and advise them throughout the mediation process. So one aspect of this whole mediation process is that it makes so it is so effective, effectively using the opportunity which it presents for disputing parties to speak directly to each other, and in turn also to be heard by the others, which is also very important. And when we will be talking about tools and techniques as a role of lawyers in mediation, and before also, as we have seen that there has been a lot of discussion about the communication and listening skills also. So this is how we see that the process is getting facilitated. So lawyer supported, and in this way lawyer supported mediation can be enormously beneficial, because it ensures that both parties have equally independent legal advice again, and so that they are confident to enter into an informed dialogue, which then helps to redress any kind of power imbalances between parties which might be there. So in particular, lawyers may be able to facilitate the mediation process and support the mediator in reaching a good result. Then if we talk about lawyers acting as mediators, we see that they have to comply with all the requirements applicable to a mediator, and ultimately seek a solution which allow the parties to reach an agreement. And then Another way of looking into the lawyer's role, very common way, is to look into the various phases. So in the pre-mediation phase, or during the mediation phase, or the post-mediation phase. So what is the scope? So one scope for resorting to ADR mechanisms. So there are various mechanisms, as we know, available, and so and also because when the party first probably lawyer is the first contact person which the party get in contact with, so it becomes a kind of a responsibility of the lawyer to present a kind of scope of the various mechanisms available in front of the party, and such as mediation, and then educating them about the whole concept, the process, the advantages, the limitations of all this process, and thus ultimately helping the parties to probably change their attitude from adversarial to collaborative approach. Similarly, during mediation also, there is an important role. For example, at the time of drafting the settlement agreement, and understanding the whole legal aspect of it, as well as whatever the discussions have happened during the process. So as a result of it, so that it's not just for the point of time, but in a long term also, that agreement can serve the purpose of the whole process. Similarly, in the post mediation, there could be two possibilities. One is when settlement is reached. So that is where the lawyers reassure the client about the appropriateness of the process, and in case the settlement is not reached, the lawyer can assist and guide, opting for maybe in another ADR mechanism, or the litigation as a traditional way of looking into it. Then specifically, if we talk about lawyers' role in mediation, there are this 4-5 points or major areas which we can highlight as part of their role in mediation. So if we first talk about selecting a dispute resolution method as an inherent part of case analysis. So I think my slide got stuck. Yeah, case analysis. So here is where we know that while analyzing a particular case or handling a dispute for a client, lawyers should always be adopting a very merit-based approach rather than acting on the basis of some preconceived notions or their prejudices or maybe biases. So particularly when it comes to the choice of available processes, for resolving a conflict situation, it is very important that lawyer approach the matter from a very analytical and objective point of view, and that can actually play a very crucial role in the whole in deciding the next course of action for the parties, or where the solution would lead towards. So such a professional attitude of objectively looking into things, or analytically going into the matter, it should be actually a starting point in any case analysis. So this of course will also involve taking into account various other things or characteristics of clients, their specific needs and preferences, as well as of course their attitude and actions would also matter. Similarly, there could be lawyer's role can be in terms of advising the client on the proper conflict resolution method. So again, as I said, in terms of big industries or MSMEs, which is a kind of new technical mediation concept emerging, a lot of cost benefit analysis is required from the lawyer's part when they play the role of a mediator. So on the basis of this thorough understanding or thorough cost benefit analysis, also they help to reach an agreement, as well as also risk assessment, assessing the risk involved. Then assessing the client at and or outside of the mediation table. So it is again here where they play an important role in preparing the whole the process, the concept, briefing the parties, the client about their rights and duties, as well as ensuring along with that, ensuring how parties understand the process, their rights, their obligations, etc. Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, just you have skipped almost 10 slides. We have seen just one slide, and in this moment we are seeing the slide number 11.
Okay, the other slides were not visible.
No, they weren't visible, but I think you have talked on them, so I think we can skip that. Also, we are also running short of time, remember. Since we have talked about them, I don't think it's necessary. You can share your slides later on if people are interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
As what I'm understanding is my previous slides were not visible, probably, right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Is this slide visible?
11, yes.
Okay. So basically, I talked about the paradigms and then the phases, and then I was going into the specific points, looking into the lawyer's role in mediation. So starting with selecting a dispute resolution method to advising the client on the proper conflict resolution method, then assisting them inside or outside the mediation table, and then drafting the settlement agreement wherein they need to take care of the issues which are to be considered, preparing or reviewing the draft thoroughly, and also sometimes liaising with the parties to discuss possible areas of tension where the lawyer was not himself or herself involved throughout the process. And then finally, we see the role of the lawyers in terms of enforcement of the settlement agreement. So the content of the agreement may be made enforceable by a court or other competent authority, as we know, as per the laws applicable. So that is where also the role of the lawyers come into the picture. And then the main takeaway or key points which I wanted to highlight, or I want to highlight through this slide, is that what are those tools or skills which helps in preparing better for being in the role of a mediator as a lawyer. So again, as we've been discussing, communication, listening, negotiation, risk assessment, understanding the legal concepts, as well as an ability to go beyond those concepts to reach to an amicable solution. And thus, as I said, in terms of construction sites or MSMEs or some things like that, understanding the complex issues which may again require some kind of cost benefit analysis. And so all these are skills which can help in better professional standing in the community, and coming out well in this regard. So with this, I would like to stop here, and maybe if time permits, we can discuss further. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Madam Apurva Patel. Now, Madam Angela and Mr. Nyaman, please don't take otherwise. Please you contact with Mr. Justice Arup Goswami, Chief Justice of Chhattisgarh, or you contact Madam Justice Rupa Goswami directly, or you contact maybe with Dr. Kevin Brown. Don't take otherwise. Sorry. Now, from Bangladesh, history of mediation in Bangladesh, maybe in English or in Bangla. Mr. Fazle Khoda Indi Nadi, District and Session Judge, Sirazganj. Learned District and Session Judge, Sirazganj.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. আজকের এই প্রশিক্ষণে এবং প্রশিক্ষণ গ্রহণ এবং প্রশিক্ষণে কিছু বক্তব্য দেওয়ার সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য আমি আমাদের প্রধান প্রশিক্ষক, বাংলাদেশ সুপ্রিম কোর্টের জ্যেষ্ঠতম আপিল বিভাগের বিচারপতি জনাব মোহাম্মদ ইমান আলী মহোদয় এবং বিমসের সম্মানিত সভাপতি এস.এন. গোস্বামীকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই এবং কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাই। আমার আজকের বক্তব্যের বিষয় হলো বাংলাদেশে মিডিয়েশনের ঐতিহাসিক প্রেক্ষাপট। বাংলাদেশের মিডিয়েশনের যাত্রাপথে গণপ্রজাতন্ত্রী বাংলাদেশের সংবিধান হলো অন্যতম মাইল ফলক, যা স্বাধীন সার্বভৌম বাংলাদেশে মিডিয়েশনে পথ চলার প্রথম ধাপ। কোড নতুন বিচার পদ্ধতি চাই, আর বিচার ব্যবস্থা তাড়াতাড়ি বদলে ফেলা দরকার। বিচারের নামে অবিচার আর চলে না, এবার নতুন একটা কাঠামো করুন, আনকোড। বঙ্গবন্ধুর এই স্বপ্নটিকে ঘিরে বাংলাদেশে মিডিয়েশনের যাত্রা শুরু। বাংলাদেশের বিচার ব্যবস্থা প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতাপূর্ণ। বাংলাদেশের স্থপতি জাতির জনক বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান কর্তৃক জাতীয় সংসদে ২রা জানুয়ারি ১৯৭৫ তারিখে প্রদত্ত ঐতিহাসিক ভাষণে বলেছিলেন, কোড আল্লাহর মর্জি, যদি একটা মামলা সিভিল কোর্টে হয় 20 বছরেও সেই মামলা শেষ হয় বলতে পারেন আমার কাছে? বাপ মরে যাওয়ার সময় বাপ দিয়ে যায় ছেলের কাছে, আর উকিল দিয়ে যায় তার জামাইয়ের কাছে সেই মামলা। আর ক্রিমিনাল কেস হলে এই লোয়ার কোর্ট, জজ কোর্ট বিচার নাই, জাস্টিস ডিলাইড, জাস্টিস ডিনাইড। উই হ্যাভ টু মেড এ কমপ্লিট চেঞ্জ, এবং সিস্টেমের মধ্যে পরিবর্তন করতে হবে। মানুষ যাতে বিচার পায় এবং সঙ্গে সঙ্গে বিচার পায়, ব্যাপক পরিবর্তন দরকার। কলোনিয়াল পাওয়ার এবং রুল নিয়ে দেশ চলতে পারে না। নতুন স্বাধীন দেশ, স্বাধীন মতবাদ, স্বাধীনভাবে দেশ শাসন করতে হবে, যেখানে জুডিশিয়াল সিস্টেমের অনেক পরিবর্তন দরকার। আনকোট। বঙ্গবন্ধুর স্বপ্ন হচ্ছে মিডিয়েশন বান্ধব বিচার অঙ্গন। মিডিয়েশন বান্ধব বিচার অঙ্গন সৃষ্টিতে বাংলাদেশ ল টাইমস বিএলটি তৎকালীন প্রধান পৃষ্ঠপোষক সম্মানিত বিচারপতি বদরুল হায়দার চৌধুরীর অনুপ্রেরণায় আইন বিভাগের ছাত্রছাত্রীদের নিয়েই বিএলটির গবেষণা টিম কাজ শুরু করেছিল। পরবর্তীতে বাংলাদেশের তৎকালীন অন্যতম আইন বিজ্ঞানী বিচারপতি মুস্তফা কামাল, বিচারপতি কে এম হাসান এবং বর্তমানে আপিল বিভাগের মাননীয় বিচারপতি মোহাম্মদ ইমান আলী মহোদয় গণের হাত ধরে আজ বাংলাদেশ মিডিয়েশন শব্দটি সুপরিচিত লাভ করছে। প্রসঙ্গত উল্লেখ করা যায়, 1999 সালে তৎকালীন প্রধান বিচারপতি মুস্তফা কামালকে প্রদান করে বাংলাদেশ লিগ্যাল স্টাডি গ্রুপ গঠন করা হয় এবং মিডিয়েশন মাধ্যমে মোকদ্দমা নিষ্পত্তির জন্য সরকারের প্রতি আহ্বান জানানো হয়। পারিবারিক অধ্যাদেশ 1985 এর বিধান অনুযায়ী ঢাকায় অবস্থিত পারিবারিক আদালতগুলোতে মিডিয়েশন চালুর উদ্যোগ নেওয়া হয় এবং দেওয়ানি কার্যবিধি আইন সংশোধনের জন্য প্রস্তাব করা হয়। বাংলাদেশ লিগ্যাল স্টাডি গ্রুপের অন্যতম সদস্য এবং বাংলাদেশের প্রাক্তন প্রধান বিচারপতি কে এম হাসান 2002 সালে আয়োজিত এক সেমিনারে উল্লেখ করেন, সকল আদালতে মিডিয়েশন পদ্ধতি বাধ্যতামূলক হওয়া উচিত। বাংলাদেশ সুপ্রিম কোর্ট আপিল বিভাগের জ্যেষ্ঠ বিচারপতি মোহাম্মদ ইমান আলী মহোদয় 2019 সনে আন্তর্জাতিক মিডিয়েশন অ্যাওয়ার্ড অর্জন করেন এবং তার নেতৃত্বে 2021 সনের জানুয়ারি হতে অক্টোবর পর্যন্ত জেলা পর্যায়ের 280 জন বিচারককে 10 ঘন্টা ব্যাপী মিডিয়েশন প্রশিক্ষণ প্রদান করেন এবং প্রতিটি জেলা জজ আদালতে মিডিয়েশন সেন্টার চালু করার জন্য সরকারের প্রতি আহ্বান রাখেন। তার উদ্যোগে বাংলাদেশের প্রথম অভিজ্ঞ অ্যাক্রিডিটেড মিডিয়েটর তৈরির লক্ষ্যে 40 ঘন্টা ব্যাপী মিডিয়েশন প্রশিক্ষণ আমাদের সিরাজগঞ্জ থেকে শুরু হয়। এজন্য আমরা নিজেদেরকে অনেক সৌভাগ্যবান মনে করছি এবং কৃতজ্ঞতা জ্ঞাপন করছি। বাংলাদেশের বর্তমান প্রধান বিচারপতি সৈয়দ মাহমুদ হোসেন মহোদয়ের নির্দেশনায় এবং আপিলেট ডিভিশনের জ্যেষ্ঠ বিচারপতি মোহাম্মদ ইমান আলী মহোদয়ের অক্লান্ত পরিশ্রমে সুপ্রিম কোর্ট কর্তৃক গত 21/3/2021 এবং 5/8/2021 তারিখ প্রচারিত সার্কুলার দুটি বাংলাদেশে মিডিয়েশন বান্ধব বিচার অঙ্গন তৈরিতে অভূতপূর্ব সাড়া জাগিয়েছে। সংক্ষিপ্ত আকারে বাংলাদেশের প্রচলিত আইনে বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি। দেওয়ানি কার্যবিধি আইন 1908, দেওয়ানি কার্যবিধি সংশোধন আইন 2003 এর মাধ্যমে বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তির জন্য দেওয়ানি কার্যবিধির 1989A, 89B, 89C ধারাগুলোকে এবং অর্থঋণ আদালত আইন 2003 এর অধীনের মামলা ছাড়া সব ধরনের দেওয়ানি মামলার ক্ষেত্রে কার্যকর করা হয়েছে। এছাড়া কোড অফ ক্রিমিনাল প্রসিডিউরের আর বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি সংক্রান্ত কোনো বিধান নেই, তবে এর ধারা 345-এ বর্ণিত আপসযোগ্য তুচ্ছ অপরাধের একটি তালিকা বর্ণনা করা হয়েছে। আর্থিক প্রতিষ্ঠানের ঋণ পুনরুদ্ধারের জন্য এবং দেনা ও পাওনাদারের মধ্যকার বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তির জন্য বাংলাদেশে অর্থঋণ আদালত আইন 2003 প্রণয়ন করা হয়েছে। আগে ঋণ পুনরুদ্ধার সংক্রান্তে মামলাগুলি দেওয়ানি আদালতের এখতিয়ারভুক্ত ছিল। সম্প্রতি অর্থঋণ আদালত আইন 2003 এর 16 নং আইন দ্বারা সংশোধন করা হয়েছে, যা অর্থঋণ আদালত সংশোধন আইন 2010 নামে পরিচিত। সংশোধনের অন্তর্ভুক্ত বিকল্প পদ্ধতি সম্পর্কিত ধারাগুলো হলো যথাক্রমে 22, 23 ও 25, যা বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তির জন্য মধ্যস্থতা, সালিসি বা নিষ্পত্তির সম্মেলনে এবং উচ্চতর দাবির জন্য নিষ্পত্তির প্রতিকার প্রতিবেদন অনুমোদনে কার্যকর ভূমিকা পালন করে থাকে। সালিস আইন 2001 বাংলাদেশের সালিস আইন 2001 প্রণয়ন করা হয়েছে। প্রোটোকল এবং কনভেনশন আইন 1937 এবং সালিস আইন 1940 রদের মধ্য দিয়ে এই সালিস আইন 2001 10 এপ্রিল 2001 থেকে কার্যকর করা হয়েছে। এই আইনটির মাধ্যমে আন্তর্জাতিক বাণিজ্যিক সালিস, বিদেশি সালিসি রোয়েদাদ এবং অন্যান্য সালিস সম্পর্কিত আইনগুলোকে সম্পৃক্ত করা হয়েছে। এই নতুন আইনটি আবার 2004 সালে নির্দিষ্ট কিছু সংখ্যক ক্ষেত্র বিশেষে সংশোধন করা হয়েছে। যদিও এই নতুন আইনটি প্রধানত আনচিট্রাল মডেল আইনের উপর ভিত্তি করে করা হয়েছে, তথাপিও এই আইনটির কিছু সংখ্যক নীতিমালা সংযুক্ত করা হয়েছে ভারতীয় সালিস ও সমঝোতা আইন 1996 এবং ইংলিশ সালিস আইন 1996 থেকে। গ্রাম আদালত আইন 1976 সংশোধন করে গ্রাম আদালত আইন 2006 প্রণয়ন করা হয়েছে। এই আইনটি মূলত বাংলাদেশের গ্রাম এলাকার বিরোধ এবং বেআইনি কার্যক্রম সমাধানের জন্য প্রণয়ন করা হয়েছে। 2006 সাল থেকেই এই আইন উপযুক্তভাবে কার্যরত রয়েছে এবং বাংলাদেশের বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি ব্যবস্থার উন্নয়ন বিকাশের ক্ষেত্রে বিশেষ ভূমিকা পালন করে যাচ্ছে। যে কোনো প্রকার দ্বন্দ্ব, দেওয়ানি বা অপরাধমূলক এই আইনের আওতার মধ্যে আসে। যদি যে কোনো প্রকার দ্বন্দ্ব, দেওয়ানি বা অপরাধমূলক এই আইনের আওতার মধ্যে আসে, তবে তা অবশ্যই গ্রাম আদালতের মাধ্যমে মোকাবিলা করতে হবে। গ্রাম আদালতটি 5 সদস্য বিশিষ্ট হতে হবে, যাদের মধ্যে একজন চেয়ারম্যান হবেন, যিনি গ্রাম আদালতের সভাপতিত্ব করবেন, এবং প্রতিটি দল 2 জন সদস্য নির্বাচন করবে, যাদের মধ্য থেকে একজন অবশ্যই ইউনিয়ন পরিষদের সদস্য হবেন। বাংলাদেশ শ্রম আইন 2006 শ্রম আইনটি পদ কর্মসংস্থানের এবং অবস্থার সিদ্ধান্ত, যা শ্রমিক ও ব্যবস্থাপনা দ্বারা ক্রমাগত প্রক্রিয়া নিয়ন্ত্রণ এবং শাসন করার জন্য বাস্তবায়ন করা হয়েছে। এই বাংলাদেশ শ্রম আইন 2006 মধ্যস্থতা, মীমাংসা এবং সালিসি পদ্ধতির বর্ণনা করা হয়েছে। বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি সম্পর্কিত অন্য বিধিবদ্ধ বিধানগুলো বর্ণনা করা হয়েছে চুক্তি আইন 1872 ধারা 28 এবং সুনির্দিষ্ট প্রতিকার আইন 1877 ধারা 21 সালিস সংক্রান্ত বিধান সংযুক্ত করা হয়েছে। উল্লেখিত বিষয় আইনের বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি সংক্রান্ত বিধানগুলোর মাধ্যমে আমাদের দেশের বেশিরভাগ মানুষের ন্যায় বিচারের দ্বার উন্মুক্ত করে দেওয়া হয়েছে। এসব আইনের বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি সংক্রান্ত বিধানগুলোর মাধ্যমে বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তিকরণ প্রক্রিয়াকে স্বল্প সময়ে এবং কম খরচে মানুষের দ্বার প্রান্তে পৌঁছে দেওয়া সম্ভব হয়েছে। তাই বলা যায়, বিকল্প বিরোধ নিষ্পত্তি সংক্রান্ত বিধানগুলোতে ন্যায় বিচার দরিদ্র কিংবা ধনী সবার জন্য নিশ্চিত করা হয়েছে। বাংলাদেশের প্রেক্ষাপটে দেওয়ানি কার্যবিধিতে 89 ধারাটি বাতিল করে 89A, 89B, 89C দ্বারা সংযোজনের মাধ্যমে অতি অল্প সময়ে উল্লেখযোগ্য মামলা নিষ্পত্তি হয়েছে। 89A ধারায় দেওয়ানি আদালতে বিবাদী পক্ষ লিখিত জবাব দাখিলের পরপরই মামলা মধ্যস্থতার মাধ্যমে নিষ্পত্তির জন্য দিন ধার্য করা এখন আইনি বাধ্যবাধকতার মধ্যে পড়েছে। অনুরূপ ভাবে ফৌজদারি কার্যবিধিতেও ছোটখাটো প্রকৃতির অপরাধ যেমন মারামারি, বাসগৃহে চুরি, মানহানি ইত্যাদি আপোষ নিষ্পত্তির জন্য 345-এর 1 ধারায় দণ্ডবিধির কতিপয় ধারাকে সংযোজন করা হয়েছে। ফলে আদালতের অনুমতি সাপেক্ষ ও কিছু ক্ষেত্রে আদালতের অনুমতি ব্যতীত দ্রুত আপোষ নিষ্পত্তি সম্ভব। পরিশেষে বলবো, বর্তমান সরকার, বিশেষ করে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা উন্নত প্রযুক্তি সম্পন্ন মিডিয়েশন বান্ধব বিচার অঙ্গন তৈরিতে নিরলস প্রচেষ্টা চালিয়ে যাচ্ছেন। মিডিয়েশন সম্পর্কে উপযুক্ত ধারণা, প্রশিক্ষণ, বিশেষ করে অ্যাক্রিডিটেড মিডিয়েটর দ্বারা মিডিয়েশন বান্ধব বিচার প্রাঙ্গণ আমরা সব সমৃদ্ধ করতে পারি এবং বঙ্গবন্ধুর স্বপ্নের বিচার অঙ্গন তৈরিতে আমরা প্রশিক্ষণার্থীগণ হতে পারি বর্তমান সরকারের সহায়ক শক্তি। আমরা বিশ্বাস করি, প্রজ্ঞা এবং সুবিবেচনা দ্বারা মিডিয়েশন ইতিহাসের অংশ হয়ে ভবিষ্যৎ প্রজন্মের নিকট উজ্জ্বল নক্ষত্রের মতো আলোকিত হবে। আমরা বিশ্বাস করি, মাননীয় বিচারক বৃন্দ, আইনজীবী বৃন্দ, বিভিন্ন পেশার পেশাজীবী বৃন্দ মিডিয়েশন সম্পর্কে উপযুক্ত প্রশিক্ষণ গ্রহণ দ্বারা বিচার অঙ্গন এবং সমাজ জীবন ও রাষ্ট্রীয় জীবনে শান্তি প্রতিষ্ঠায় অগ্রণী ভূমিকা পালন করতে সক্ষম। নতুন প্রজন্মের জয় হোক, জয় হোক মিডিয়েশন চেতনায় সমৃদ্ধ আইন প্রাঙ্গণ। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, sir. Now, I am requesting Mr. Salmun Al Islam. Topics definition of mediation. Mr.
সরি
Salman
লার্নেড,
Al Islam.
আমরা আপনাকে একটা লিস্ট পাঠিয়েছিলাম লার্নেড, আমরা একটা লিস্ট পাঠিয়েছিলাম। আমরা আমাদের সিরাজগঞ্জ থেকে যারা 10 জন বিচারক আছি তারা আমাদের আমাদের টপিক গুলো একটু ভাগ করে আমরা নিয়েছি আর কি। তো সেই অনুযায়ী আপনাদের সাথে কমিউনিকেশন করা হয়েছে। তো
সেই লিস্ট অনুযায়ী
আমি সাইমন আল ইসলাম, আমার টপিকটা ছিল হচ্ছে সোর্স। আমার তাহলে হয়তো আমাদের একটু ভুল হয়েছে, আমার টপিকটা হচ্ছে সোর্স অফ মিডিয়েশন।
So, yes, you may start. Your language will be in English or in Bengali. Sources of mediation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I am going to make some discussion on sources of mediation from Bangladesh perspective. What my previous speaker has said covers a great portion of my point of discussion today. Nevertheless, I am trying to make some discussion on some important sources of mediation in Bangladesh. The history of Panchayat Salish plays a vital role in governing informal and traditional dispute resolution system in this subcontinent. It is not a recent phenomenon in Bangladesh culture. Rather, a customary practice of informal justice system that has a history of more than 1,000 of years in this arena. First of all, I must say about the mediation principles in Al-Quran. In Islam, mediation is often called wasatah. Islamic mediation is a well-established process for resolving disagreement in which an impartial third party like mediator helps people in dispute to find a mutually acceptable resolution. A verse from Quran which is about the process of mediation in a similar dispute, that means between husband and wife, is quoted in Surah Al-Nisa chapter number 4 and verse number 35, which says, if you fear a breach between them two, there are two persons mean husband and wife. Okay, if you fear a breach between them two, then appoint two arbiters, one from husband's family and the other from the wife's. If they wish for peace, Allah will cause their reconciliation, because Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all the things. So what we see is Islamic mediation suggests that the process must be fair to all parties with equal representation from each side. Islamic concept of mediation comes up with the general belief that Allah is watching over everything. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, also used to encourage and enable all parties to think on a common sense of approach to resolve their issues that is beneficial to all, including the families and the community at large, and to take step back and look inward for their own shortcomings and behavior in contributing to the issues, and think about how they could put the situation right, to come up with their own practical solution which will benefit all the sides. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, used to allow people to rebuild relationship as they work together to find a common ground for resolution and to reach an agreement that is their own. Hindu religion has also a deep root of mutual mediation process. Apart from our religion, I must say, and the life of the father of nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, is also a immense source of mediation in Bangladesh. Bangabandhu was a great patroness of mediation process. He did like to resolve matters by means of discussion, negotiation, and mediation throughout his whole life. He has showed us the way to attain peace by way of concession of self-interest. Even in the historical speech of 7th March in 1971, Bangabandhu uttered with his sturdiest voice that I'm saying it in Bangla. আমি বললাম ঠিক আছে আমরা অ্যাসেম্বলিতে বসবো, আমি বললাম অ্যাসেম্বলির মধ্যে আলোচনা করব, এমনকি আমি এ পর্যন্ত বললাম যদি কেউ ন্যায্য কথা বলে, আই এম সেইং ইট এগেইন, যদি কেউ ন্যায্য কথা বলে আমরা সংখ্যায় বেশি হলেও একজনও যদি সে হয় তার ন্যায্য কথা আমরা মেনে নেব। That kind of attitude and approach shows that Bangabandhu was much eager to realize nation's right by way of compromise. That's why I must say that dynamic life of Bangabandhu is immense source of mediation in Bangladesh. Now I'm talking about legislative sources in Bangladesh. Firstly, the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, Section 89A and 89C of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 deal with the provision for mediation in general civil matters. The subsection 1 of Section 89A provides that after filing a written statement, if all the contesting parties are in attendance in the court in person or by their respective pleadings, the court shall. Please note that the Act has used the word shall, and the court shall, by adjourning the hearing, mediate in order to settle the dispute or discourse in the suit, or refer the dispute or discourse in the suit to the number one, to the concerned legal aid officer appointed under the section under the Legal Aid Act 2000, or to number two, to engage pleaders of the parties, or to the party or parties where no pleader or pleaders have been engaged, and finally to and a mediator from the panel, as may be prepared by the district judge under subsection 10 of the undertaking, for undertaking efforts for settlement of the dispute of the parties through mediation. You might have known that our honorable district and session judge, Sirajganj sir, Mr. Fadlagut Mohammad Najib sir, has already formed a panel of mediators in Sirajganj. The section has used the word shall. That thereby means that the attempt to go for mediation is mandatory and and it is mandatory, and there is no option. The court must proceed with the suit without observing this mandatory process. This has not been an option to the parties. Rather, it is a compulsion to attempt for 8 years. That the court shall adjourn the suit for the purpose just after filing the written statement by the contesting parties, and the suit shall remain adjourned till the mediation process comes to an end. The court on its own instance shall pass the order of adjournment observing the provision. The presiding judge may himself also act as a mediator, but a person holding an office of profit in the service of the Republic shall not be eligible for appointment as a mediator. A pleader is barred to act as a mediator between the parties if he had been engaged by either of the parties as a pleader in any suit in any court. The mediator is duty-bound to strictly preserve the confidentiality of the parties to the mediator proceedings. The proceedings of mediation shall be treated as confidential, and any communication made, evidence adduced, admission, statement, or comment made, and conversation held between the parties, their pleaders, representatives, legal aid officers, and the mediator shall be deemed privileged and shall not be referred to, and shall not be admissible in any evidence. That's an important point. Shall not be admissible in any evidence in a subsequent hearing of the same suit or any other proceeding. An important point must be noted on that. No appeal or revision shall lie against any order or decree passed by the court in process of settlement between the parties under Section 89 of the Code. When the mediation fails to produce any compromise, the court shall proceed with hearing of the suit from the stage at which the suit stood before the decision to mediate under subsection 1 of the Section 89 of the Code, in accordance with provision of the Code, in a manner as if there had been no decision to mediate or reference to mediation was made as aforesaid. The failure of mediation attempt by the presiding judge himself shall lead the suit to be transferred from the court which initiated by ADR. It has been provided that when a mediation initiative led by the court itself fails to resolve the dispute or discourse in the suit, the same court shall not hear the suit if the court continues to be presided by the same judge who led the mediation initiative, and in that instance, the suit shall be heard by another court of competent jurisdiction. Within 10 days of the order of mediation, the parties shall serve notice in writing to the court about the progress of initiation for the mediation, and the mediation procedure will have to be completed within 60 days. If it is not completed within 60 days, another 30 days can be extended. If the mediation becomes successful, the mediator shall draft an agreement on such terms and conditions as the parties agreed upon. The parties, pleaders, and mediator will sign on it upon submission of agreement with agreement. The court within 7 days will pass a decree accordingly. If the mediation procedure fails, the proceedings the proceedings of the suit will start from the stage it has been stopped before mediation, as I said before. So for pending appeals are concerned, the mediation is made applicable through the provision of Section 89C of the Code. The provision of Section 89C provides that the procedure provided in Section 89 of the Code shall be followed in the case of pending appeals and with necessary changes as may be expedient. That means mediation can also be possible under Section 89C in appeal. Accordingly, an appellate court shall mediate in an appeal or refer the appeal for mediation in order to settle the dispute or dispute. Order 41 of the code and is between the same parties who contested in the original suit or the parties who have been substituted for the original contesting parties. Now I am going to refer Ortorin Adalat and 2003. Chapter 5 of Ortorin Adalat Ain 2003, that means Section 22, 23, 24, and 25, provide for provisions of settlement of any dispute through mediation. The newly amendment in 2010 of the Act gives the opportunity to the parties to settle the dispute in 4 stages, namely a mediation after filing the written statement, secondly, mediation before the pronouncement of judgment by the consent of the parties, in number 3, mediation at the execution stage, and finally, in number 4, mediation at the appellate or revision stage. Section 22 of the Ortorin Adalat Ain 2003 provides for mediation process initiation after filing of written statement. This is a long process, and I'm not going to refer it again for my shortage of time. Then I want to refer Section 38 of the same Act. According to Section 38 of the Ortorin Adalat Ain 2003, if the money code gives any judgment and it is on execution process, in this case, the parties can settle the dispute through mediation and inform the decision to the court. And the executing court, it gets satisfied with such decision, and the court can finally dispose of the case according to parties' compromise. Another section in Ortorin Adalat Ain 2003 is Section 44A. According to Section 44A of the Act, at any stage of the appeal or revision, the parties may mediate the subject matter of the appeal or revision, and if be successful, shall inform to the court. The procedure of Section 22 shall be followed in such cases. That means the procedure of Section 22 will be applicable in regards appeal and revision. Then I am going to discuss about the Family Code Ordinance 1985. The Family Code Ordinance 1985 provides for the provisions of mediation in family disputes in Bangladesh. Section 10 of the ordinance deals with mediation at pre-trial stage. This section goes saying like when the written statement is filed, the family court shall fix a date for a pre-trial hearing of the suit. On the date fixed for a pre-trial hearing, the court shall try to compromise or reconciliation between the parties. Section 13 deals with the post-trial mediation process. This section provides that after the close of evidence of all the parties, the family court shall make another effort to effect a compromise or reconciliation between the parties. And Section 14 says that where a dispute is settled by compromise or a conciliation, the court shall pass a decree or give decision in the so in terms of compromise or conciliation agreed to between the parties. And another section that is very much important, Section 23, subsection 2 of the ordinance. I'm saying it again, Section 23, subsection 2 of the ordinance deals with mediation process even after the judgment is published. This is somewhat like post-judgment mediation. This type of post-judgment mediation is applicable only in resolution of Muslim marriage cases, and it is somewhat related with the Muslim Family Laws Ordinance 1961. Section 23 in subsection 2 goes saying that where a family court passes a decree for dissolution of a marriage solemnized under a Muslim law, the court shall, within 7 days of the passing of the decree, send by registered post of a certified copy of the same, that means a certified copy of the judgment, to the appropriate chairman referred to in Section 7 of the Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961. And upon receipt of such copy, the chairman shall proceed as if he had received an intimation of talaq required to be given under the said ordinance. Now the question is, what does Section 7 of the Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961 say about mediation in resolution of Muslim marriage cases? Section 7 of the Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961 says for constituting an arbitration council by a chairman for the purpose of bringing about reconciliation between husband and wife in Muslim divorce matter. Section 7 of the ordinance elaborately contains the procedure that should be followed by arbitration council. That's why we must say that Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961 also an important source of mediation in Bangladesh. This ordinance requires a husband or wife to give a notice to local government representative, that may be chairman or mayor or something like that, and another to the intended husband or wife about the matter of divorce. The local government representative will constitute a arbitration council and try to bring reconciliation between the parties. I think I'm running out of time. I'm going to make my rest of the discussion on in brief. Village Code Act 2006. After formation of Village Code, the court shall hear both the parties and decide issues between the parties. Thereafter, the court shall take initiative of conciliation between the between the parties. If the mediation becomes successful, the terms and conditions as the parties agreed upon will be incorporated in an agreement, which is to be signed by both the parties and their nominated person. After that, village court shall pass the order or decree accordingly. And another important source, I must say, the Code of Criminal Procedure 1898. The Code of Criminal Procedure provides for the scope of compounding of some offences which are comparable in nature as described in Section 345 of the Code. Section 345 of the Code comes up with a mediation in criminal cases. Compounding of minor criminal offences is permitted under the Code of Criminal Procedure. Compounding of offences means to settle offences mutually by the alleged victim and the accused before entering into the formal court procedure. Section 345 of the code provides a list of offences. Those are punishable under the penal code, but are also compoundable by the parties. Two different types of compounding are suggested in the code under two different lists. The first one suggests offences like uttering word with deliberate intent to own the religious feelings of any person, causing hurt on provocation, wrongful retention, wrongful confinement, forced labor, etc., as comparable with the intent of the aggrieved person. Most of the offences included in the first list are minor offences punishable with maximum 1 year imprisonment and a fine or fine. The second set of compoundable offences includes more grievous offences like rioting with deadly weapon, voluntarily causing grievous hurt, act endangering the personal safety of others, and assault or a criminal force to women with intent to outrage her modesty. Punishment for this offense varies from 2 to 7 years along with fine. These offences are also compoundable by the accused person, but only with the permission of the court. Finally, I must say about Arbitration Act 2001. Section 22 of Arbitration Act also provides for the scope of mediation. According to this section, upon the consensus of all parties at any stage of arbitration can follow mediation procedure. At the time of coordination of dispute, if parties resolve the matter amicably and if the parties request that court regarding this, the arbitration court or tribunal, the arbitration tribunal shall record the consensus of addition as award of the tribunal. Besides these things, Income Tax Amendment Act 2011 and Labor Act 2006 have also the glimpse of sources of mediation. These are the main sources. These are the main sources of mediation in Bangladesh. Thank you very much, everyone, for being patient listener. Mr. S.N. Goswami, I know who are the next speaker. If you allow, I may refer him for the next topic. Can I?
Now, Madam Salma Khatun, Additional District and Session Judge. Madam Salma Khatun, topic, definition of mediation. Madam
Thank you.
Salman Khatun.
Thank you. In simple way, mediation is a voluntary, free, informal, non-binding, and confidential process using a neutral third party to help the parties reach a mutually beneficial resolution of their dispute. According to Black Dictionary, mediation means intervention, interposition, the act of third person who interferes between two contending parties with a view to reconcile them or persuade them to adjust or settle their dispute. In international law and diplomacy, the word denotes the friendly interference of a state in the controversies of theirs for the purpose by its influence and by adjusting their difficulties of keeping the peace in the family of nations. In Oxford English Dictionary defines the term mediation as intervention in a dispute in order to resolve it arbitration. Mediation, according to West Encyclopedia of American Law, means a settlement of a dispute or controversy by settling up an independent person between two contending parties in order to aid them in the settlement of their disagreement. As per Collins English Dictionary, in international law, mediation is an attempt to reconcile disputed matters arising between states, especially by the friendly intervention of a neutral power. According to Merriam-Webster Law Dictionary, mediation is defined as non-binding intervention between parties to promote resolution of a grievance, reconciliation, settlement, or compromise. US law for mediation. Mediation means a process in which a mediator facilitates communication and negotiation between parties to assist them in reaching a voluntary agreement regarding their dispute. From the definitions, we find some characteristics of mediation. These are as follows. It is voluntary process. It is party-centered negotiable system. It is simple and flexible. It is informal and casual process. It is a fair process and preserves good relationship between the parties. It is a free, non-binding to the parties. It is confidential in nature. It is speedy, efficient, and cheaper. It is mutual, beneficial settlement. It looks at the interest the parties. Thank you. Now I would like to request Mr. Tanvir Ahmed to make some discussion on stages of mediation.
As Mr. Tanvir Ahmed, Joint District and Session Judge, Mr. Tanvir, MD Tanvir Ahmed.
Hello, thank you. Yes, thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Before I discuss the stages of mediation, let me define the mediation simply. Simply to say, mediation is the process of settling the dispute between the disputing parties with the assistance of an impartial third party. For this, there is a stages of mediation process which has to be followed by the mediator for the settlement. Stages of there are 5 functional stages of mediation process. Stage 1, introduction and opening statement. Stage 2, joint session. Stage 3, separate session or private caucus. Stage 4, reaching a settlement. Stage 5, closing session. Now I start stage 1, what is introduction and mediator's opening statement. In this session, the mediator introduces himself or herself by giving the information such as his or her name and qualifications. The mediator requests the parties and their counsel to introduce themselves. The mediator expresses the hope that the matter would be amicably resolved in order to get the trust and confidence of each party. In the opening statement, the mediator explains to the party the concept, process, advantages, and stages of mediation. The mediator explains the ground rules of mediation. Finally, the mediator confirms the process is cleared by the both parties and shall give them opportunity to give the doubts clarified. Stage 2, joint session. The object of the session is to gather information, understand facts and issues, and also obstacles and possibilities. The mediator invites to the both parties to present their case. First, the plaintiff is given an opportunity to state the case in his own words, followed by his counsel, who can present and state the legal issues involved in the case. Likewise, the defendant is given opportunity followed by his counsel. The mediator shall identify the area of agreement and disagreement between the parties and should encourage the communication to get additional information. At the completion of joint session, the mediator may meet each party with their counsel. Stage 3, separate session or private caucus. The object of the session is to understand the dispute at deep level, to encourage parties to generate options and find terms that are mutually acceptable. The mediator in each of party would talk the mediation in confidence. Then the mediator gathers further information by identifying each party's differential priorities and the differential aspects of the disputes. The mediator, in order to move the process forward, engages in reality testing, in which the mediator assists the parties to understand the reality of their case and shift the focus on problem solving. Then the mediator offers option which he feels serve the common and maximum interest of each party. In this stage, the mediator adopts some techniques of reality testing, which are follows: BATNA, best alternative to negotiated agreement; WATNA, forced agreement to negotiated agreement; MELATNA, most likely alternative to negotiated agreement. By using the above techniques, the mediator assists the parties to understand the reality of their case, give up their rigid position, identify their genuine interests and needs, shift their focus on problem solving. The parties are then encouraged to explore several creative options for settlement, like as brainstorming. Brainstorming is a technique used to generate options for agreement. There are two stages to the brainstorming processes. Number 1, creative option. Number 2, evaluating option. Now, stage 4. Stage 4 is reaching a settlement. After caucus, the mediator might bring the parties back together to negotiate directly. The mediator can conduct as many as separate sessions as necessary and may even conduct a sub-session with the counsels if required. The mediator carries the option and option or offer generated by the parties from one side to another. The parties negotiated through the mediator for a mutually acceptable settlement. However, if negotiations fail and a settlement cannot be reached, the case is sent back to the referral court. Stage 5, closing. Where there is settlement, the parties are reassembled. The mediator orally confirms the terms and condition and reduces them to writing. The agreement is signed by the parties. Also, mediator may affix his or her sign on the signed agreement. In the closing statement, the mediator thanks the parties for their participation and help in reaching the solution. Where there is no settlement, the case would be returned to the referral court, merely mentioning not settled. The statements made during the mediation will keep confidential and should not be disclosed by any party or advocate or mediator to the court or outside the court. In conclusion, I would like to say these stages in process of mediation are there for carrying out the mediation in smooth manner. If the stages aren't followed properly, then it becomes difficult for the mediator and parties to come up with successful settlement. Thank you.
Welcome. Now requesting Madam Mr. Noor Mohammad Bhuiyan, topic communication in mediation. Mr. Noor Mohammad Bhuiyan, Assistant Judge.
We have a correction there. Mr. Noor Mohammad Bhuiyan is in a hospital with a sick baby since last 3 days. You can give the topic to Miss Lovely Nazneen here. Miss Lovely Nazneen. Miss Lovely Nazneen, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you.
Sorry, one thing, it may be corrected. Earlier, your name in community
Nazneen.
mediation, as because these set of topics sent to our uncitral body. If you correct, yes, no problem at all. Mr. Noor Mohammad Bhuiyan.
Yeah, you can correct it.
Correct.
For some inconvenience, Mr. Noor Mohammad Bhuiyan is not there today. He is in hospital. His little child is admitted since last 3 days.
Thanks. So
You
now,
may ask, Ms.
Madam
Lovely
Nadira
Nazneen here.
Sultana. Nadira Sultana.
Leonard, you can give the topic to Ms. Lovely Nazneen. He can talk about the communication. Whatever you said right now. Yeah, Ms. Lovely Nazneen, give it to Ms. Lovely Nazneen. She is prepared.
What spelling in English, please?
Assalamualaikum.
Please, what spelling in English?
Lovely.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yes, you may proceed.
Ms.
Madam.
Lovely
Am I
Nazneen,
audible?
you may proceed. Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Justice, Dr. Muhammad Iman Ali sir, respected resource persons, respected learned district judge sir, respected faculty and my dear fellow colleagues, learned panel lawyers, assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. It's me, Lovely Nazneen, assistant judge. On behalf of the participant of this 40 hours mediation course, I would like to express my heartiest gratitude to our Honorable Justice Muhammad Iman Ali sir for his initiative of this course, as well as we are also grateful to BEAMS, the organizing authority, who is enlighten our motives towards mediation. Now I am going to make some discussion about communication in mediation. Communication means imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. In mediation, communication is the core of mediation. As in mediation, the parties get the full opportunity to speak their self out. Communication is not just talking and listening, it is a process of information transmission. The motive of communication is to convey a message, which can be through words, gestures, or both. Basically, the communication should be done in such a manner that the sender and the receiver shall understand the information in the same way as it was intended to be conveyed. Now I am discuss about communication skills in mediation. Communication skills in mediation include number 1, active listening, Number 2, listening with empathy. Number 3, body language. And number 4, asking the right questions. Now, the first one, active listening. A mediator is required to be a good listener as parties participate in mediation with a varying degree of optimism, anger, distress, confusion, fear, etc. If the parties understand that they will be listened to and understand, it will help in trust building and they can share the responsibility to resolve the dispute. An active listener listens for both what is said and what is not said. The commonly used techniques of active listening by mediator, number 1, summarizing. Mediator outlines the main points made by speaker. Number 2, reflecting. It is a way where mediation confirms they have heard and understood the feelings expressed by speaker. Number 3, reframing. Used by mediator to help the parties move from position to interest. Restate or summarize what the speaker has said in your own words. This confirms to the speaker that you have listened and understood what was said. Describe both the content and feelings of the communication in a fair and object manner. Number 4, acknowledging. In this, mediator verbally recognize what the speaker has said without agreeing or disagreeing. Number 5, differing. In this, mediator postpones the discussion until later. Number 6, encouraging. Mediator encourages the parties if they feel upset. Number 7, restating. In this mediation, reassures the statements he has heard from speak. Number 8, silence. A mediator should understand the silence of parties. And number 9, order. A mediator sets the sequence of topics claimed defense. Number 10, effective speaking. Just and using effective listening skills can improve communication and understanding so that effective speaking. You probably have had the experience of saying something that you thought was very clear and the finding out that your message was interpreted in an entirely different way from what you intended. What is it essential to become effective speakers to resolve conflict? Here are some tips on how you can be a more effective speaker. Number 1, focus on the problem, not the person. You have probably heard the popular saying, be hard on the problem, soft on the people, throughout the mediation. Try to keep the focus on the problems or discuss issue at heart rather than on assigning blame or finding fault with the other. And number 2, speak from your own perspective. In other words, describe your own values, thoughts, feelings, and actions instead of putting words in the other person's mouth. I feel, etc. I feel, believe, etc. Think. Instead of you broke our agreement, avoid both telling the other person's what you think his or her intentions are. And number 3, speak directly to the other person. You are trying to pursue the other party and not the mediator. Therefore, speak directly to him or other. Number 4, be specific. Describe particular behavior rather than making generalizations. Avoid using words like always and never. Give concrete examples to illustrate your viewpoint. And number 5, build for the future. Build for the future. Talk about a problem in terms of what you want to see happen in the future or how a situation or working relationship can be improved rather than arguing about the past. Number 6, focus on common interest. Focus on common interest, not positions. Number 7, create options for mutual gain. Incorporate the other person's perspectives into your own create shared solutions. This means developing options which take into account both of your interests, invent multiple options before evaluating them or making a decision. Now, listening with empathy. It means the ability of mediator to understand and appreciate the feelings and need of parties and their concept to them. And body language, the appropriate body language of the listener indicates to the speaker that he is attentive. Example, a symmetry of posture, smiling face, learning gently towards the parties for listening. Asking the right question. Mediator must gather good quality of information by asking relevant questions. The timing of questions are very important, as the right questions help the parties and the mediators to understand what the issues are. You must wish to ask the speaker questions to obtain more information and to clarify and better understand the speaker's perspective. It is important to ask open-ended questions, that is, questions which cannot be answered with only yes or no. For example, tell me more about, etc. Can you give an example? Remember to use a non-threatening tone of voice and to avoid framing a question as a demand or accusation, as lawyers frequently do when cross-examining witnesses, as this will make the speaker feel attacked and respond defensively, and he or she will stop listening. That's all about communication in mediation. Thank you, everyone. I would like to request Mrs. Nadira Sultana to have some say on few circular on the Supreme Court of Bangladesh relating to mediation.
Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Justice Iman Ali Sir and all the resource persons in this training session for their valuable and effective speech. This mediation training program is really helps us to improve our mediation technique. Now, I start my lecture about the circular of Supreme Court of Bangladesh. In accordance with the proposal of Judicial Reforms Committee of Bangladesh Supreme Court and the direction of Honorable Chief Justice of Bangladesh, Honorable High Court Division published a circular at 21 March 2021, and to follow the provision which is inserted in section 89 subsection 10 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, our district judge sir had comprised a mediator panel with 26 members. This panel is filled with 19 advocates and 7 respected persons. Honorable High Court Division published a circular about mediation at 5 August 2021. The provision of mediation is properly inserted in the section 89A, section 89C of the Code of Civil Procedure, section 22 of Orthorin Adalat Ain 2003, section 22 subsection 1 of Shalish Ain 2001, and section 210 of Bangladesh Labor Law. Honorable High Court Division has directed mandatory to follow this provision of mediation by this circular. In this circular, Honorable High Court Division published some essential guidelines to follow these mediation provisions. In accordance with the guidelines of Honorable High Court Division, after filing the written statement, the court will adjourn the hearing and compulsorily take the initiative of mediation and fix a date for the mediation hearing. On that date, the court will give instruction to the parties to appear before the court in person, their legal representation or their lawyers. Number 2, if the plaintiff, the defendant or their legal representative or their lawyer appears in person on the scheduled date of the mediation hearing, the court will explain to the parties or their legal representative the features and benefits of mediation. Now, I will describe about the feature of mediation. The feature of mediation are, number 1, there is no obligation to settle the case through mediation once it has started. If after the commencement of the position of the parties in the dispute is so inflexible that mediation is not possible or the settlement of the dispute through mediation does not create a favorable position for either party. But once the mediation talks have started, in many cases, the parties will be interested in resolving the dispute through the mediator without resorting to the usual litigation proceedings. In this case, the parties should sit down for mediation at least once. Feature number 2, in the case of mediation, the parties may choose their own mediator. So in this process, the parties maintain their control over the whole matter. Feature number 3, the parties do not have to incur any cost if they want to settle the matter through mediation through the court or the district legal aid officer. Feature number 4, in other case, the poor and indigent parties may also benefit from the provision of legal aid to the cost of mediation, subject to the fulfillment of the necessary conditions. Feature number 5, the mediator does not give any decision in resolving the dispute through mediation, but he helps the parties in making the decision. In this case, the parties have the freedom to make decision. Now, I'd like to describe about the benefits of mediation that mediator described to the parties before starting mediation meeting. The benefits of mediation are, number 1, maintaining confidentiality in the mediation process. At any stage of the mediation process, no matter what the parties argue or what evidence is presented, its confidentiality remains intact. And if the mediation fails, the mediation is not accepted as evidence in court. Benefits number 2, the process of mediation is simple and effective. In the case of mediation, the parties or their appointed lawyers decide the place, time, and procedure of mediation. Discussion as they themselves decide the process of mediation is very simple and effective. This saves the parties time, labor, and money. Benefit number 3, the mediation process is usually held in formal court. But since the mediation process is informal, the parties themselves have the ability to talk more about resolving their own problems or disputes. This creates an environment for mutual misunderstanding. Benefits number 4, there is less opportunity for delay in resolving disputes through mediation. In many cases, due to conventional procedural reasons, cases are delayed year after year. But only through mediation can the dispute be settled in one sitting. This method may legally require a maximum of 90 days. The court may issue a decree or order that effect within 7 days after the parties have reached an agreement. In this case, there is less chance of delay in settling the case. Benefit number 5, opportunity to refund the court's fees in case of mediation. If the dispute is settled through mediation, the parties will get back the court fee. As a result, the parties will save money. Benefits number 6, reduction of case handling cost. The case is settled in a much shorter time than usual through mediation. As a result, the cost of lawyers' fees, including the overall operating cost of the case, is lower. Benefits number 7, short time is spent in resolving disputes through mediation. In many cases, even if the case is settled in court or through mediation, there is a delay. If the case is disposed of in the normal process, there is an appeal against the judgment of the court or against the tribunal or revision in High Court. After that, the appeal or revision verdict is appealed or leave to appeal in the appellate division of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. The aggrieved party files a review petition against the judgment of order passed by the appellate division on appeal or leave to appeal. All in all, this could lead to delays in case resolutions. No appeal or revision against the decree or order of the mediation is admissible if the case is settled through mediation. As a result, on the one hand, it is possible to settle such conflicting issues expeditiously. On the other hand, there is no legal opportunity for appeal, revision, etc. As there is no delay in the case, it is full of time, labor, and money of the parties is saved. Benefits number 8, there is no victory or delay in the settlement of disputes through mediation. Since the parties decide independently in resolving the dispute through mediation, the question of victory or defeat does not arise between the parties in this case. In this way, due to win-win situation, the parties can come to their acceptable decision. Benefits number 9, permanent resolution of dispute through mediation is, in resolving disputes through mediation, the parties find their solution on the basis of consensus. Since the dispute is settled, the possibility of reconflict between the parties or their successor on the same issue is very lasting and successful resolution of the conflict and the relationship between the parties remains intact. These are the benefits. After explaining the benefits and features of the mediation, if the parties agree, the court itself initiate mediation discussions as an mediator or set a date for the mediation at the convenience at short breaks. The court at the same time gives the parties all the other options for the appointment of mediator. That means the appointment of mediators through appointed lawyers made by the district judge. Explain to the parties the issue of mediation through the mediator in the corner of the mediation through the district legal aid officer, and if the parties choose whichever of these options, the court will take further action for mediation accordingly. A person who has previously been associated with the parties or is employed in a lucrative position in the Republic shall not be appointed as a mediator. In the case of appointment of mediator under the Orthorin Adalat Ain 2003, the mediator has to be appointed from among the persons mentioned in section 22 subsection 2 of the said act. Paragraph number 4, the parties will inform the court whether the mediator has been appointed within 10 days of the order of settlement of the dispute through mediation. If the parties fails to appoint a mediator, the court will appoint a mediator within the next 7 days. The mediator shall complete the mediation proceedings within 60 days of such appointment. If such activities are completed within 60 days, if it is not possible, an additional 30 days may be extended considering the progress of the mediation or the appropriate reasons. The provision of section 22 subsection 5 and section 22 subsection 6 of the Orthorin Adalat Ain 2003 will be applicable in case of settlement of dispute through mediation. Paragraph 5. If it is possible to settle the dispute through mediation, the mediator shall prepare an agreement stating the terms agreed upon by both parties, and the parties, their appointed lawyers, and the mediator shall sign it within 7 days of the submission of the said agreement. The court shall issue a decree or order in respect of the said agreement. The same procedure has to be followed even if the judge himself has compromised. If the dispute is settled through mediation, the parties will get back the court fee submitted to the court. If the mediation process fails, the case will continue as before. Paragraph number 6. Do not influence the parties in any way to make a decision or make a decision of the objections of the mediating parties in the mediation process described. He will only help the parties to make decisions. Paragraph number 7. If the judge himself is the mediator and the mediation process fails, he will not trial the case. He will refer the case to the district judge for transfer to a court of competent jurisdiction. If the district judge is the mediator in the appeal case and the mediation process fails, the appeal will be sent to a court of competent jurisdiction without judging the case. If the mediation process through the district legal aid officer fails, the district legal aid officer will prepare a report in accordance with the law and rules and submit it to the court, stating the appropriate reasons. Paragraph number 8. If the mediation process fails, the parties to the mediation process must keep the conversation, statement, acknowledgement, or comment confidential and cannot be used or considered as evidence in the proceedings. Paragraph number 9. Above all, at any stage of the mediation process, for the purpose of resolving the dispute through mediation, the court shall issue the necessary order of direction in accordance with the provisions of the relevant law in the light of the application of the parties or on its own initiative. These are the provisions which is inserted in circular of the Honorable High Court Division. Thank you.
Welcome, madam. Are you interested any more? From Bangladesh side, anyone?
May I say something, Mr. Goswami?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, just to add one little thing that I think perhaps escaped us, and that is that with regard to flexibility, we may tell the litigants and their lawyers that mediation provides the facility for an imaginative solution, which they cannot get in the court of law or in arbitration. In a court of law or arbitration, they get what the law allows. No more, no less. The court does not have a discretion to reduce the decretal amount. So in mediation, the parties themselves decide, and they can reduce their claim amount. For other reasons, they can say, okay, if you agree, if we enter into this next agreement, then I'll reduce this claim by 10% or 20% or even 50% or whatever. So their business relationship may dictate that they have a reduction in their present claim in order to continue their relationship in the business. So this is only provided or allowed through mediation process. In the court, you get what you claim, or you don't get what you claim, or you get what you can prove, you don't get any more than what you can prove. In mediation, you have the choice. There is the flexibility. I just wanted to add that because I think that has not come out in our guidelines, and perhaps maybe next time we can add it.
Thanks, sir. Anyone from Bangladesh side? If no, then on request for Thailand, Mr. Warjum Pusu, you may contact with Mr. Dr. L. Benkin. from Nepal, Madam Ritu Thapa, you may contact with Dr. Namrata Pandey. Yeah. Sorry, sir. Yeah. Yes, Nirupama, Shanta, send our circular to all participants? Shanta? Learned participants, Aru got one circular from Beans 18/10/2021. Dear participants, Aru got any circular from Beans side? Any circular dated 18/10/2021? Yes, Nirupama,
Learned, just circular relating to about what topic?
regarding mediation training, general information on mediation training, 40 hours mediation training. Aru got, sir?
Can you please refer the date again?
18/10/2021.
I'm not finding this general
That means
info.
18 October.
Yeah.
Okay.
This time, Bangladesh International Mediation Society BIMS, বাংলাদেশে 40 ঘন্টা ব্যাপী মেডিয়েশন প্রশিক্ষণ সম্পর্কিত সাধারণ তথ্যাবলী। One sheet.
Yes, I have got by WhatsApp from Tanmay Rahman.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This copy has been served via WhatsApp.
All participants, to all participants.
WhatsApp.
Sir, I am missing that.
Learned,
hello, sir.
for your kind information, I am just sharing this info that if you just email this information or this sheet to anybody, any participant, we may collect this copy or email it.
Shanta, তুমি কি আছো?
Goswami, sir.
Yes.
Hello, Goswami, sir. I am missing that. I have not seen the in WhatsApp. Please allow to send me an email.
Yeah. Shanta, তুমি কি আছো? Nirupama, it may be considered as because all persons. No, Nirupama, please. From Bangladesh side, yeah. Yes, dear persons, you will get maybe this night, wherein stated প্রত্যেক প্রশিক্ষণার্থী প্রশিক্ষণ চলাকালে ডেমনস্ট্রেশন এবং লেকচার সিরিজে অংশগ্রহণ করা বাধ্যতামূলক। This circular issued from UNCITRAL and also this circulated amongst our Ministry of Law and Prime Minister's Office and also our proper authority. So can I request who are attending just now to deliver your speech on this topic, that is selected topics. No more maybe. So, Lordship, can we proceed?
Yes, let us finish.
So now I am requesting you, Lordship, to concluding speech and ended this session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much for attending. From the performance, we can see that we have budding mediators amongst us. And inshallah, what you do will be reflection of what we have heard in the last so many hours and days. That is not the end of learning. Learning is a continuous process. Everybody knows that. And I almost concluded last week when I said that was the last session, but today is not the last session, even we have one tomorrow. But even that will not be the last session, because you still have to continue to keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and also keep your mind open, because every case will have different aspects. Facts may be same, people will be different, their attitude will be different, and you have to treat them differently. You have to assess their character. You have to assess their behavior. Mr. Goswami, I have an urgent call which I must attend, but let us talk further tomorrow. And we have a session tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you all. I will see you tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon.
Afternoon, no session, sir. There is no session
But you have
afternoon.
sent me a circular saying tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock.
No, sir.
Day 8.
First session. First session only.
You send me a program for day 8. I can show you.
Sorry. 8.
Okay, let me show you. Mr. Goswami sent me one for day 8 and one for day 7. Day 8 is for 18th of December, 9:30 to 1 p.m. Sorry, in the
Yes,
morning.
sir.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
I make it 9:30 to 1 p.m. tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
So that is still on, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So we will see everybody tomorrow morning, correct?
Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Okay. All the best and see you in the morning.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.